Welcome into another episode of the ReaLife Hoops Podcast with Sam Ostry.
And Danny Cooper.
We're rolling these out. We're a few weeks in. We really appreciate everyone listening, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen on YouTube. We appreciate if everyone continues to rate, review, subscribe, download, do all that stuff to keep this thing going, keep this train rolling. Danny, how we doing today?
Doing great. I'm excited for our next guest.
Yeah, so we have a very special guest I'll introduce now. Jack Adler of Out2Win Sports. We're going to get into a lot of NIL stuff, what Jack's been up to, his entrepreneurial self in the world of college athletics. Jack, how are you? Nice to see you.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm hyped to be here. Excited to talk Out2Win and NIL.
Put the mic up.
It doesn't really matter, but
I know, but it'll just look for the camera. I'm gonna cut that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just hold the mic for the camera.
We don't even need to cut it out. It's fine. We're doing mic issues here. We're fine. We're gonna keep rolling. Doesn't really matter if you hold the mic up. Doesn't matter if you don't. But Jack,
it's not even working anyways.
I know, but it's whatever. It just looks good for the thing.
Danny cares about the look a lot.
No, I mean we want the mic to whatever.
All right, good start to the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so Jack, first tell us about what you're up to now, what Out2Win is, how it started, and really the background behind it.
Yeah, for sure. So is this good, Danny?
Yeah.
So pretty much, Out2Win Sports. We started it. We being my co-founder Sam Holland and I, who's also a student at Syracuse, where I go currently. So we started it back in July when the name, image, and likeness laws were passed, pretty much allowing college athletes to monetize off their brand. So pretty much what it started was us seeing an opportunity for us being entrepreneurial thinkers, saying, hey, like this is a new thing where a lot of college athletes that we have relationships with and we've spoken with have said, there's no one here helping us right now. So we kind of took that as an opportunity to figure out how we can provide value in this space, being that it was so new. And that's really just how it started. We said, all right, we're going to do this. What are we going to do? We don't know, but we're going to figure something out. And really the first few months were spent sort of doing research into NIL, what it was, and seeing how we could provide that most value. And I would say around like the January-ish time period, we sort of we took a step back and we said, all right, let's look at where NIL has come over the last 6 months, and let's see where, once again, we can see ourselves really providing serious value. And what we were seeing was a lot of the NIL deals that were being done in a very inauthentic way. So brands were partnering with athletes. You send the athlete your brand and you just take it, you post a picture with it, you say, I'm excited to announce my partnership with blank. And for me, being like the most part, the target demographic of these deals, I didn't care for that. I was scrolling right by it. It did not catch my attention. And that's what these brands were supposed to be trying to do, at least. That's what advertising is. So we took that and saw that as really the biggest problem in NIL in the first 6 months. So we said, how can we fix that? How can we make a change and really impact not only just Syracuse, but the whole industry?
Yeah. Real quick, keep going, but yeah. I just want to ask, have you found that athletes really care about that, or they just care about the check as much? Because why, from the athlete perspective, why would they care if they just get that check in and they just post, they don't really care as long as they're getting paid for that, you know what I mean? Why would they care?
Yeah.
What was the pitch for you guys for why they would care to really make it authentic?
It's funny because they didn't care at all.
Yeah, exactly.
But once they so what I'll get into is we started making these videos that were really high quality. And all they care is about this check. But once they saw that they started putting out content that people were like, dang, this is high quality. You're a professional. You look more legit when you're putting out this high quality content. So we hired a camera crew. We brought on a team of producers, creatives, and we started creating this content. So pretty much we were facilitating deals with brands and athletes, and we were creating content. And this content was it's no joke. It looks like it's professionally done, and the deals are enhanced, and the deals it's not just, an athlete posting a picture, but it's actually, there's a script and you're hearing the athlete's voice, you're seeing their personality, which for the most part, it did take convincing to say to these athletes and really educate them on the fact that if you want to be able to grow your brand and grow what matters to them, their NIL value, and actually raise the number that they're being offered for these deals, you need to show a personality and build a relationship with your audience, because that in hand is what is attractive to brands that want to work with you.
Right. So on that topic, have you guys seen a different level of conversion from the content-based approach as opposed to just an athlete posting a picture and saying, here's the company, check it out, like you were saying how you weren't too interested in that? Has there been numbers yet, or is it still too early to kind of say?
We're working on finding the best way to track those numbers when, a lot of it isn't really something that we have access to. What we have been doing is putting what's called a bit.ly link in the bio of each athlete, so we're able to track the clicks that come from it. And what we've seen is that in terms of the actual engagement on the post and then the actual conversion into clicks, it's been exponentially higher than what comes from these stupid posts. I'll give an example real quick. So Sean Tucker, he's the best running back at Syracuse, considered one of the best running backs in the nation. He partnered with a company called Apex Entertainment. We had no involvement in it, but we love using it as a case study to show sort of what some of these NIL deals can be when there's no content, no creative behind it. And he has 10,000 followers. He's very popular at Syracuse. He posted a picture that was literally just a blurry, low-quality picture of him throwing an axe at a wall or something. I don't even know. It was absolutely awful. The caption said, "I'm pleased to announce my partnership with Apex." It got 200 likes. You scroll through his account, and he gets 4,000 to 500,000 likes on posts.
Yeah, usually, sorry to interrupt, usually on those posts, they get way less engagement as you've seen.
It gets less engagement. So, that's our whole motto that, we're trying to figure out how we can improve the whole conversion side. Right now, the whole proof is we made a video with two athletes that have significantly less followers than him. It had over 25,000 views on Instagram and even more on TikTok because people like it. People are interested and engaged in the content.
So how are you, when you're teaming up with the athlete, you're helping them create content, how are you, as a company, monetizing it?
Oh, so we take a 20% cut of the deals we facilitate. So
and so is it just you kind of get you reach out to the company instead of the athlete actually reaching out to the company, and you're showing them this content of this is original content you guys are creating? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So right now we call ourselves the NIL Accelerator. We're not necessarily an agency in the case where we're going to represent you and we are going to manage your entire life and help you with everything. We say you're now a part of the Out2Win network. You're an Out2Win athlete now. So we have, let's say right now, 75 to 100 athletes that are within the Out2Win network, where we're not necessarily managing them on a day-to-day, but we're looking for deals actively that we can turn into campaigns. So right now, the deal that we recently did with Danny, which was with Obsesh,
yes, sir.
Quick plug for that. We're looking to turn that into a campaign where it started with just Danny as a test case for this brand, and it's going to turn into a campaign with 30 plus athletes who are all doing the same / similar concept that Danny completed, where we have that high quality content and that promotional content that's going out on their social medias. So if you're a part of the Out2Win network, you're pretty much on with no better way to put it, a waiting list of we're going to come to you with opportunities and help you get paid.
And so how much easier is it to find these deals for high profile athletes as opposed to because I know there's some of the people on your list aren't they don't have a ton of followers, they aren't the biggest names in college athletics. How much easier is it or harder I guess is it to find for lower profile athletes?
I was gonna say it's almost harder for higher profile sometimes because of course they have the name, but the price tag that comes along with them is exponentially larger. I'll say one athlete that we're working on a potential deal with right now is Armando Bacot, and he's one of the top college basketball players. His price tag is a lot higher than Danny than other players that are at just they're not playing. Sure. They're not the stars of North Carolina, and they're not projected to go high up in the draft.
He's the one who just signed. He had the deal with. He was on the Outer Banks show on Netflix, right?
He's doing it all right now.
I read a story about him recently.
And when you have other offers coming in, of course, to field an offer like this, it's got to have a price tag worth even thinking about. Yeah. So that's kind of where the differences come to, because just because you're not an Armando Bacot or one of these top players, you still can provide value to a brand and at a lower price. So it is actually sometimes easier, in fact, to find deals for some lower tier athletes because they can still provide a similar amount of value with just a much lower price.
It's interesting you mentioned Armando Bacot because I remember a story I read I guess it was a week ago that he's a unique NIL athlete because he's doing it the right way, where he's approaching businesses and he's approaching companies saying trying to pitch himself like a real entrepreneur. He's not letting people come to him, even though he's obviously was in the national championship game. He's a well-known figure, but he's really trying to take the entrepreneurial approach and trying to pitch himself to other people and get these deals.
And the guys that do that will always find themselves more successful because who at the end of the day wants to negotiate a deal with me when you can negotiate the deal with the athlete themselves? Yeah. And to be totally honest, that's a worry in our space of sports agency. People literally think that they might not exist soon because the more that athletes are kind of being
their own boss in a way. They're
forced to have a business mind as you grow up. You see all these athletes creating content now, which was never really a thing. You're coming in as a freshman in college now with over 100,000 followers. That didn't exist a year or two ago.
High school kid I work with has like 170,000 TikTok followers. He's like 16. So by the time he's a Division I freshman, he's gonna.
That's like frequent now. So they're coming up and they're being forced to think with this business mind a lot further in advance. And even Danny has made a few calls to businesses, seeing about potential sponsorships. A few other athletes I'm working with are like, "Hey, I'm really interested in this brand." I'm like, you know what? If you really care about it, I'll do my work and try to find brands. If you go make some calls yourself too, I think you have a higher percentage chance potentially of landing a deal if it's coming from the athlete themselves.
Just out of curiosity, when you're pitching these brands or pitching these athletes to brands and how many followers they have, what's the platform where you're all right, this guy has this many followers on this platform, where you're saying what platform is the most popular, where a company will take, okay, is it Instagram, Twitter, TikTok? I don't even know. What is it?
So it's Instagram is for sports. It's definitely the main platform that I am always going after because TikTok's so unpredictable. Yeah. You can have someone who has a large TikTok platform that you can't guarantee them a certain amount of views, whereas Instagram, if they have a big platform, you can say, look, this guy has this many followers, he's gonna get this amount of views / likes, where TikTok's literally a toss-up.
Yeah.
I think that's also, Jack and I have talked about this before, it's do they have a community versus do they have just a lot of followers, and that's something that I've been working on, instead of just worrying about...
What do you mean by that? Just in terms of do followers engaged and stuff?
You'd rather, as a creator or an influencer, have 1,000 followers who love all your shit and watch all your stuff than 1 million who don't care, right? So I think that's another thing with athletes. You see different engagement.
And I think there are two ways you can tell that. In terms of, you can tell whether an athlete has a community or really doesn't. And I think the way to tell that is, one, of course, looking at their likes, seeing if their engagement rate's high. But some guys, now you can hide likes, which I absolutely hate because you can pretty much buy followers and get away with it.
A lot of people buy followers, which is crazy.
A lot of people do, and it's sad, but it literally
people thought our Instagram account was bought by followers, which is not true.
No, it's not true at
all. But there's bots too now. You see when you click on people's likes, there's a bunch of bots.
So people can buy followers and hide the likes, so you can get away with it. And I mean, that literally does raise your NIL value. That's the worst part about it, because people just aren't sometimes there's no real way to check at the end of the day. So there's that, but then there's also, if you scroll through a guy's account and see that he actually posts content and not just a picture of him playing football, a picture of him playing basketball. Yeah. If he actually has grown a community, it's because he's showing his personality. You don't grow a community by posting a picture of you playing football. You grow a community by showing a side of yourself that people connect to and relate to that's really, for the most part, off the field. Yeah. So, what we've been doing is Michael Jones, star linebacker at Syracuse, has 15,000 followers on Instagram. You scroll through his Instagram, you don't even know what his voice sounds like. He's never posted a video. He's never posted anything but a picture of him, or a video even of him making a highlight, making a tackle. We took him and we started making content with him. So we had him post a video saying, this is same thing that we did with Danny, the shot clock. This is my celebrity crush. This is my favorite restaurant in Syracuse. This and that. As a fan, you can now say, oh, that's my favorite restaurant too. And obviously other examples aside from that, but you can relate with him and connect with him, become more of a fan than, I guess, it definitely increases the opportunity to build real fans, build a community when you're talking about more than just who you are as a person behind the player.
Yeah, all that sounds great, Jack. I want to kind of talk about entrepreneurship in college, because I think it's a topic you and I have discussed. And when you go to college, it's that time of your life where you're figuring stuff out. You're told you need a major where you want to focus on one thing for the rest of your life. And you and I, both being entrepreneurs in college, it's a tough scene. I mean, you're not really surrounded by that many other like-minded people. Mm-hmm. So kind of a twofold question. Number one, how do you focus on your entrepreneurial endeavors while not getting distracted by maybe not those people who aren't as like-minded? And then also number two, how do you utilize the connections and network being at college to enhance your entrepreneurial endeavors?
Yeah, I mean, this is a topic I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
Mostly because of how much I've struggled with it. And like you said, how do you not get distracted? I do get distracted a lot. It's really hard not to, because I'm a college kid still. I'm in a fraternity.
Want to party a little bit.
I'm in a fraternity. I still want to party. I still want to have fun. But at the same time, the difference is I'm just really, really passionate about it, and I almost can't not be. I was on the phone with my co-founder last night, and I was like, dude, I have an issue. Like, I'm obsessed with this. Like, I can't stop thinking about it even when I want to. And I think that's not something you can like build. Like, it's something that kind of comes naturally. And with that, I've been able to avoid distractions because I'm just like, I want it that badly, and I enjoy what I do. Like, I almost say I don't watch TV. Like, I don't like binge watch a show or movie. My like entertainment is like working on this, and
I feel the same way.
And even like for me, like I'm down a different path, but like I've never experienced the game day at College Park, which like everyone has, and like every Saturday, like I'm working every Saturday covering my football game. So it's like, it sucks. Obviously, like I wish I did, but like this is what I want to do. This is what I know what I want to do. So it's like it's worth it in the end. Where it's like I haven't experienced a game day. Sometimes I can't go out when everyone else is out, and like I wish I was. But at the same time, this is what I know I want to do. So
it's worth it because it's worth it because you enjoy it. One, so it's not doesn't feel like work. But two, you know that if you're getting that head start, you're gonna it's giving you a better chance to do what you love for the rest of your life, and that's what I think we all want to do. Something that we are passionate about and doesn't feel like work.
And I think it's that dichotomy between making sacrifices, but also the dichotomy of leadership is where I found it. But essentially, it's the dichotomy between making sacrifices, but then also not judging yourself and allowing yourself to have fun. So if Jack wants to go party on a Friday night at his frat, that's cool. Like, you're still in college, you're still young. So I think entrepreneurship, a lot of times, at least how I thought of it at first, is like it's got to be that grind 24/7. And something that I've learned recently is sometimes it's good to take those mental breaks. So yeah, I think finding that perfect balance, that perfect dichotomy. And also real quick, Jack, how do you deal with some of that pushback? So maybe we've talked about this briefly because we kind of both experienced this. When people aren't as like-minded and maybe they see what you're doing, they might judge you at first and they might make comments or they might write shit in group chats. How do you deal with that?
I also know Jack's friends, so I know for sure they're making comments.
And I can speak about that myself because I've gone through this the last 2 years, and it's funny how kind of the tables turn once you start doing some good shit. But talk about that a little bit.
At the end of the day, like people will say stuff all the time, and I just laugh at it. Like it's funny.
Yeah,
it's also all love. Like it's never.
Yeah, you know they're rooting for you. Like that's the thing. These are your boys.
At the end of the day, they're always supporting me, and like I know that. But it is funny because obviously it's still just annoying to know that how hard I'm working to have like it every now and then made fun of like whatever that even might look like a text in a group chat, whatever. It's fire to me. It's fuel to the fire.
Well,
like in all honesty, it pushes me even harder.
Because I remember you gave me a call a couple months ago, I think, and you were asking me about content, and you were like, kind of telling me how do you kind of deal with this in college when you're in a fraternity and all that stuff. And I think my response was, you just can't give a fuck. Like, you just can't. I mean, you're on your own path. You aren't doing the social norm. You can't care what anybody else thinks. And at the end of the day, that's what's gonna make you successful.
And I did call you about that because I used to work for a sports betting startup called Verse, and like I was like the social media guy. So like I would post TikToks, and like every other one would get sent in my group chat and like get absolutely roasted. And it's like I don't want to make those TikToks anymore.
Yeah.
And then to like go and start doing it more even on my own, like where I'm not doing it for someone else's company, I'm doing it for myself as my own brand. It's even harder because it's just. I don't know. It's hard to put yourself out there like that, and to be able to do it, it does take a lot.
It's actually funny that you bring that up right now because Jack earlier today, or not you, Jack, or other guest Jack Forrest.
Jack Forrest, right? Shameless plug, episode 1. Go check it out.
Go check it out. But he actually sent me a video today that was like, it was from the Gary Vee conference. This guy came up to Gary. You both were at. This guy came up to Gary Vee and was like I'm scared to make content because like he's like a 40-year-old dude. It looked like this guy. And he's like, I'm scared to make content because like all my high school buddies are like shitting on me. Like I don't want to put it out. He's like you're like it's great you admit that, but like you just got to do it. Like who the fuck cares? Like these are your high school buddies. Like when you're like 40 years old, like you just got to do it. And he's like, okay, I'll do it.
I have a couple of things I use, and I actually said these to Jack. Like number one, we're all gonna die one day, right? And so in 100 years, no one's gonna give a fuck who like laughed at your piece of content. And then also it's just like everyone has their own stuff. So imagine, like, think about when you're scrolling on social media, right? Like on Instagram. Do you ever actually remember that piece of content from the day before or even 2 minutes before? So say I see a Jack video, I'm not gonna like 6 hours later be like, Jack's video was so weird. Like we have such a quick, short attention span now that
it's only the people who care about you care about that shit. So even if they're making fun of you, it's because they care about you.
Right. Yeah. And I also think that goes both ways, and this is something I'm working on, like not judging the other side. Just because somebody's different than me and isn't an entrepreneur and gets a 9 to 5, that's great for them. I think for a while I judged others in that way, but I'm really working on accepting that and saying whatever everyone wants to do, that's great for them. I'm gonna go down my own path. So.
I like that comment too because I did think the same way for a while, like almost thinking like my path was superior. But at the end of the day, like everyone chooses their path, and I can't judge others. That's the same reason they judge mine. So, like almost if you have like a sense of empathy towards them, like it'll go both ways.
Empathy, baby.
That's
Here we go, Gary Vee lovers.
Let's segue a little bit.
Real quick, we all got something we want to say, but you said a question that I didn't get to that I really want to talk about, which was about network. Which has been like without a doubt. Like if someone
the network in college, how college helps you with that.
If someone asked me, because I have been asked this, like, what's your superpower in entrepreneurship? My answer is networking. Like, I have a crazy, I don't want to say ability, but I guess just like emphasis on how important it is to network and build relationships, because I know that the sports space specifically is all relationships. So I will try to meet every single possible person I can, but not just meet them, but actually build a relationship, check in with them after a few months, and like actually form a friendship/relationship. And I like having a startup in college gives you an even better opportunity to do that, because you're reaching out to them with an actual ask, or really something to talk about. Whereas I understand why it's hard for people that aren't in a position where they have like something to plug almost to like say, hey, can you just tell me about your job? Like it's easier when you're saying, hey, I'm working on this. But I have taken a lot of pride in like my ability to network over.
And I saw that firsthand at VCon, so that was pretty cool. So
yeah, well, networking is really important in any industry, but especially in sports.
I think it's underratedly important. I think that people almost don't even realize until you have like the first person that you randomly meet help you and provide you some sort of value.
You're always one person away from meeting the right person.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite saying.
Yeah, everything I've done in Out2Win thus far has been based on like my network looking to help like get us off the ground.
And some people especially always think like networking is like LinkedIn, like oh, you're connected on LinkedIn, like you're messaging, like that's not like social media is not like it can be. Social media can be a great tool, but it's not really networking. You gotta put your face or your voice in front of someone to network.
It's funny because after VCon was literally, for those who don't know and haven't seen the vlog, like you literally every person you met, no matter if it was a stranger, you went up, shook their hand and said hi. And it was funny because when I got home, literally the first day I was in Dick's Sporting Goods, and I went up to a random person, talked to him. Turns out we knew similar people and we connected on Instagram. So that's just a way of life now. I try to say hi to as many people as possible.
All right, so I wanted to get into like some more NIL talk, unless you want to go somewhere else.
Just
like general NIL talk.
Okay, we can do that, and then I wanted to ask Jack a question, but
you can do it now.
No, I was just gonna say, it's fascinating for me when I think about myself. But where does kind of your entrepreneurial spirit come from? Are your parents entrepreneurs? Is it just who you've been forever? Where do you think that comes from? Why do you take that different path?
I don't know. I actually don't know, and I say I don't know because I've thought about it a lot, and I have different like reasonings behind it. But what I'll say is, COVID freshman year. Prior to that time in my life, I hadn't really done shit. Like I wasn't doing anything entrepreneurial. COVID of freshman year, I was really bored in quarantine, and I was kind of just like trying to think of how I wanted to spend this time, because it was at the point where we were like, dang, like this isn't ending anytime soon. Like we're gonna be trapped in our houses for a while, and everyone was kind of just binge watching shows and stuff. And I was like, I can't do this like for the next however many weeks, months it'll be. So I started brainstorming like what I wanted to do, and I like started $3 challenge, which
legendary $3 challenge. The whole entire world and was posting.
And that's what started like my entrepreneurial career. Because I realized how fun it was, how much I loved it. It wasn't even me saying like I'm gonna do this because I love it, but then once I started it, I realized how much I loved it, and that's really kind of where it all started for me. But yeah, I started a $3 challenge with my twin sister, literally because I said to her like, what if all of our followers just donated $3? We could raise a legit amount of money.
Sick.
And we started it by putting out a video, which by the way, I was scared shitless to put that video out because it was me just in front of the camera, literally my first time ever doing something like it, like just talking to the camera, putting it out to like Instagram, the whole world, and it popped off, and within 24 hours we raised over $10,000, which
wow.
I didn't even think would be possible. Like we were hoping to raise a few $100s, and from there, like now we've raised over $80,000 for various charities. We took that concept and started using it for other good causes, and from that point on, I was like, yeah, like I need to keep doing this. Like this entrepreneurial, like the reward that comes from it is like addicting. I had to, like, from there it was like, all right, what's next? Like, give me something else. What's next? I need to take another idea and turn it into a reality, because that was fun. Like, let's go do it again.
For sure. I started my business pretty much around the same time. So
I feel like a lot of things originated from COVID.
Yeah,
Everyone just had so
100%.
much time to do whatever. Like everyone was just sitting in their house. All right, so I wanted to talk about NIL stuff in general.
For sure.
So I mean, obviously there's a ton of conversation surrounding it right now. You know, like whether it's pay for play, the regulations surrounding it, and you're doing NIL the right way, I think, and the athletes that you're working at are doing it the right way. But there's a lot of schools, and we can talk about like boosters and their involvement that aren't doing it the right way, where they're turning it into pay for play essentially when they're recruiting athletes for large sums of money. I mean, we see John Ruiz at Miami is the one the notorious one that gets all the media headlines. He's paying guys millions and millions of dollars deals where they probably aren't doing shit, but they're just getting a bag of cash to come play. And but this all was happening under the table.
Sick.
People knew this stuff was happening under the table in college athletics before, but now it's just literally right in front of everyone's eyes. And NIL is using your name, image, likeness to profit off of your ability, which was ridiculous you couldn't do before, because that meant like you couldn't, like college athletes people don't even realize this, they couldn't like run a camp.
Yeah, you couldn't
get a job if they wanted a second job. No college athletes could do that. They couldn't do any of that stuff. And so that's something that I think everyone thought, oh, you can do that now. It's such a great thing with NIL. But when it becomes pay for play, and these top programs in the country for basketball and football just throwing bags of cash, who's gonna give up more cash? It's kind of ruining college athletics to a degree.
It 100% is, and I mean, fact checking wise, like the people that are involved in this have denied that that's the case.
Of course.
Right now, like it is illegal to do that. You aren't allowed as a booster to be involved in a recruiting process. So everything, if all those reports are true, it's illegal, and there should be. Like the NCAA should take action.
But there's no guardrails.
There's
around.
no
There's no
I feel
regulations.
like there's a lot of gray area.
There's a lot.
right now.
That's the problem. There's a lot of
And
gray
it's so
area.
new, too.
Everyone's pushing the NCAA. Everyone's pushing like literally Congress to make a ruling on it. And of course, there's some other big things going on in the world that just overtake
a few.
that overtake the importance of NIL. So that's actually a big reason why like that whole ruling is moving slow. But pretty much right now, boosters are not allowed to have any part in recruitment, which obviously, according to news reports, has not been the case. According to the actual people that are reportedly involved, is that, like they haven't had involvement in it. This guy, what's his name? They chose Miami.
John Ruiz.
No, Jalen Rashad. Jalen
Rashad.
He chose Miami because he just loved the school. Like there's no money involved.
That's true.
That was the report.
That's the report. But there was Isaiah Wong, who
That's
we
what
obviously
he
know, who
reported.
played around here.
Yeah.
But he said like originally like he kind of walked back, but his agent was like, I'm gonna like if you don't pay me more, because he saw what another recruit got. He said I was the best player on this team during that run last year for Miami. If you're not gonna pay me more, I'm transferring.
Yeah.
So it's essentially free agency, and of course he got a fat NIL deal, and that's why he.
But
ended
with
up
that,
staying.
like Isaiah Wong came out and said, I don't know why he's saying that. Like that's not what represents me. Like these players are, because what happens is a player cannot get suspended, cannot lose their eligibility for being involved in this. It's the school that gets the shit for it. As an athlete, you still want to look out for your school. You don't want your school like getting put under fire. So like someone like Isaiah Wong, someone like Jalen Rashada, they're standing up for their schools more than they are themselves and trying to hold back and help their reputation.
But it also is real quick like.
You're good.
Boosters, obviously, the programs, the top football programs, the top basketball programs that had the best and strongest and most loyal boosters, I guess, they were always the best programs, always have been. But now boosters are so much more important to college athletics, where it's just like, you're just rich. Like, you should not be the face of college athletics. You're just a rich guy who's throwing money into a program that you're probably alumni for. Like, now boosters and the collectives they set up, they're so essential to whether your program is going to succeed or not.
Imagine if that's how pro sports work. It's like, you just have the most rich fan base, so you're going to be the most successful team for years.
Yeah, and
that's how it works.
Well, that's how baseball has like no cap, right?
Exactly,
So the Yankees are always the best.
But in all these other sports, there's a cap. So like, what should there be a cap in college athletics now?
It's interesting because college basketball now, college sports in general, is almost like a minor league NBA. Like like NCAA D1 basketball, it's like now you have overtimes league and you have D1. You saw Caleb Love, who could have been a first round pick after that amazing run. He stayed. I'm sure he got a bag. Like, why not stay and enjoy a college experience if you can make half a million to $1 million?
How do you like regulate this? Like, where is this going in the future?
Well,
I think real quick, I think it's great for the game because now you're going to get more 4-year players.
Yeah,
but you asked how do you regulate it?
The top programs are going to dominate. There's going to be less parity.
Right. So first off, there's going to be regulation at one point or another.
Maybe 10 years from now.
There has to be, and I'm hoping it's sooner than that. Like for my sake, because it does make my job easier. Because obviously right now, like the collectives are just making the whole thing a drama fest more than anything. It's like that's what all the news reports are about. Whatever. There's a ruling that's like on the table right now for a collective bargaining agreement, which would allow college athletes to actually make a salary. So that would change the whole game, and that's where it could potentially be headed, where it's no longer like a college sport. It's actually like becomes
how would
like
that
a minor league.
The amateurism ends like it is professional sports.
And then in addition to the salary, they would get brand deals.
Yes. So
but how would that how does a salary work? Like
I think that's why
everyone gets the same, all 12 guys on a college basketball team.
That's another interesting point.
If you're a 5-star, you get one thing.
I'm walking on D1 my 6th year if we get a salary.
I don't know, but
I don't think they're giving
but that is where salary caps will come in. Where like all right, like all this insanity could slow down if like guys are just paid a salary, because that's almost what's happening anyways. So like for some context, like John Ruiz, the Miami guy, he runs a brand called Life Wallet. Technically, everyone is signing an NIL deal with Life Wallet, so they're becoming Life Wallet ambassadors. That's technically is an NIL deal.
Yeah.
Some of these other like NIL deals have no even association with a brand. So like John Ruiz, I actually like think he's doing it more so in the right way than a lot of people.
Well, that's why it's not technically like breaking the rules, right?
Yeah,
like
it's technically not unless it involves recruitment.
Yeah, but most of these players just know through one guy to another guy. Okay, if I go here, I'm going to get this much money. But that doesn't mean the actual John, like a guy like John Ruiz, a booster, doesn't mean he's actually involved with this. So they're not breaking rules.
And on the point of regulation, talk about a little bit how involved you have to be with the actual university themselves. So say you do a deal with Syracuse, let's make a random school. Say you do a deal with Baycott from UNC. Do you have to actually talk to compliance at UNC, or those rules aren't even in play?
Yeah, no, everything has to be reported to compliance. And when I say reported, I mean reported. It doesn't have to be accepted or denied. It just has to be reported. It has to be disclosed. So I don't really understand why that's a rule, because I don't know what they're going to do if all I have to do is disclose it.
Right.
But every deal that we facilitate, every deal that we finalize, we just have to report it to the school. And when we were early on, we wanted to get everything approved because we didn't want to face any potential backlash. So we would wait to get it approved. But now that we're kind of we're rolling, we're really we just send an email saying, here's the deal, these are the details, thanks, and that's it. That's all. Like, we don't even get a response. We just know we're good.
On that note, like we were talking about NIL and just like the negatives to it, but there are so many positives, because it was long overdue that players had the ability to make money off their profit and their likeness, and so it was ridiculous it wasn't a thing beforehand. And there are people like Armando Baycott who are doing it the right way, having an entrepreneurial spirit and going out and finding deals for themselves, but it just gets overshadowed by like the pay for play aspect of it, where guys are getting monster deals. Yeah, I mean,
and that's what I was saying, how all the news now is just this drama when, there are guys, Armando Baycott starring in a TV show, Outer Banks. That's sick. Like, these guys have opportunities.
Season 3?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
These guys now have opportunities.
Should I expose your Outer Banks?
You can real quick.
These guys.
I will. Real quick. Danny's going back to Vegas next, or this is going to film. But last year we were in Vegas for the Summer League, and a bunch of us were in a hotel room, and Danny, we were going out. We're in Vegas.
These guys were hype little 20-year-olds going out in Vegas.
Doesn't matter how old you are. We're in Vegas. We all went out in Vegas, had a night. We're not going to say what we got into. It was Vegas. But Danny stayed in to watch Outer Banks to show that Armando Baycott's not going to be on.
I did have a tryout at Duke University the day before, so I was exhausted. So
Oh, the
That
day
is true.
before. If you guys,
Yeah, I was tired, but they were picking on me because I didn't go out there.
It was a great weekend, but Danny definitely missed a great night. But continue.
Like opportunities like that one where you would not like Armando Bacot could not be on Outer Banks if it weren't for that. Guys could not be running camps if it weren't for that. There are just so many, like even guys now selling merch, profiting off of their jerseys that they're selling, being able to be in a video game. There's so many cool examples of what NIL is bringing, and they're definitely kind of like shadowed under the drama, under the negatives. And that's kind of what media is. I don't like that, but it's kind of just how it's gonna. I'm sorry.
I feel like we're talking about
we don't
media.
need to get into
I don't
that.
have to get into that. But I will say there have been like studies that have been done by I've been to a couple of NIL panels and people up there have talked about their studies that coaches, football and basketball coaches, and athletic directors of these big programs, like generally there's a lot that do support it, but generally do not like NIL, which is interesting. And this is what anonymous surveys, because most of these guys, they're not going to say it publicly that they don't like it, but they're like, NIL could negatively affect my team. I have to re-recruit these guys. There could be drama, and I disagree with all that because I think it's great for the players. But it is interesting.
Wait, real quick. If a player,
why obviously?
If a player's making $1 million now, does he have to practice that hard? I'm just saying that's you see in the NBA all the time. There's guys who
But you would think they're playing because they want to get to the next level.
We discussed this with Anthony Davis, and he hadn't shot a ball in 2 months, right? If a guy, you see these guys sign max contracts, guys get a bag. No one has to force them to work out. Great,
but it's different when you've made it. You're playing college basketball presumably to get to the next level.
So say like Mikey Williams, for example. Say when he goes to college, he gets $5 million. He got $5 million. I'm just saying, I wouldn't do that. But
I totally disagree. Like guys still have the incentive to make it to the NBA.
For sure.
I think that's what college
I hear what
you're
saying.
But there's a lot that comes with building a brand. There's a lot that comes with finding brand partnerships. These guys have a whole new element of their lives now that comes with NIL. Players coaches and athletic departments don't like that guys are definitely less focused on their sport because there is this added element.
And also another thing that was talked about is like the locker room. Like if one guy's making so much more money, there could be that dynamic where I'm better than you, but you're making more money than me.
There's no avoiding that. There's no avoiding the need to re-recruit now. But you know what? It's turning into a more competitive landscape, if anything. So I think it's better, but I understand why coaches like Nick Saban will not like it because it's just up in competition.
And with any change, there's always going to be pros and cons. There's always going to be resistance. There's always going to be people who like the old way better, but all you can do is accept the change and try to make the most of it possible. So.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right, well, unless you have one more question.
Yeah, I wanted to get into just a little bit. Jack recently, a little plug, started his podcast, Entrepreneurial Mindset, correct?
Yep.
And he wants to highlight a little bit of not all the great things about entrepreneurship. Some of it will be, but also the downsides and the difficulties. So something I'm passionate about as well. So let's just briefly talk about, what's really hard about running your own business and not having a boss.
Yeah, for sure. And I started the podcast because I've had a lot of conversations recently with other entrepreneurs who have discussed these struggles, and it made me think how a lot of them aren't made public. And it's hard being someone like me or someone like a newer entrepreneur kind of thinking and expecting it's all going to be perfect. It's all going to be great. And then, realistically, you hit a wall that's like, wow, this is hard, because it is really hard. And not a lot of people can realize that until you actually go in and try it out for yourself. So I think this platform will hopefully just act as almost education for people to realize the obstacles that come up, and also to realize that those obstacles are and have been overcome. And that's really what I wanted the whole theme of it to be. But I'll talk about sort of the obstacles that I've faced building Out2Win. I'm a 21-year-old, so naturally in a space like sports where my competition is made up of 45 to 50-year-old other people, it's challenging to kind of be a competitor in that landscape. We've definitely faced credibility issues early on. Now, we're a year in, and we're definitely just with the portfolio we've built and the relationship that we've built, we're facing less and less of that challenge. But at the very beginning of a business, it is really hard to find those first few clients, because why should they invest in you when you have nothing to really show as to why they should? So that was one of the main obstacles that we faced early on.
I just want to ask, following graduation, is the plan to continue this? That this can be something sustainable when you graduate from Syracuse in a year?
Yeah, every step we're taking for the next 5 to 6 months is putting us in a place where we can make this into a full-time job after college. And with that said, these next 5 to 6 months are really, really important. we have a lot going for us right now, and we know that if we can keep riding out the momentum, that we can hopefully look to raise funds, raise capital from investors, and make this into a career for ourselves where we are working on this outside of college.
It's awesome. All right,
let's get to our starting five segment.
We
kept saying all these segments. This is the only segment we've consistently done with our guests.
Yeah, we're gonna add more segments, but for now we're just doing starting five. Let's speed this up because we gotta wrap it up a little bit.
So it doesn't have to be too long. But the starting five segment is we're gonna draft each 5 players. The topic for today is the best college towns. Talks a lot about college athletics, NIL. So we're gonna draft the best college towns. I haven't really thought about it.
You can factor in sports. You can factor in parties. You can factor in girls. Anything you want.
Academics.
Academics, of course. Academics, of course. But
snake draft.
Yeah. So our guest always gets first pick. I'll take second pick this time, and then Sam will go snake. So
So just best college towns. I mean, I've been to like a bunch of Big Ten schools, but I don't know. You don't even have to have been to the school. Best college towns.
And we want to make this interactive, so we need you guys to interact in the comments. Let us know each week who's the best starting 5. We've already had 2 of them, so.
Are we going rapid fire? Or
let's go.
You can
give a
little
brief
explanation.
We
have time.
All right.
A couple minutes.
With the first overall pick in the college town draft, I select Syracuse University.
Shocker.
No bias.
With the second overall pick, I'm going to select Happy Valley, Penn State University, where I went my first 2 years. I think it just speaks for itself. Go to a whiteout game, nothing like it.
I was actually going to take State College with them.
Nothing like it.
Just because I've spent some time in State College, and the one, like the whiteout game was the coolest sporting environment.
It's insane. It's insane.
So yeah, State College is going. I guess I have to go my school, College Park. I wouldn't say it's one of the top college towns. I mean, obviously I love my school, but like I wouldn't say it's one of the top college towns. But
Maryland, right? For people who don't know College Park.
College Park, Maryland. On the back end, I'm gonna go probably the coolest college place I've been to for a football game on game day, Columbus, Ohio State.
Okay. Never been there.
Gotcha.
Awesome bar scene on Friday night. Great scene on a Saturday.
What about the academics?
I think they hold up. Typical Big Ten school academics. On par with Maryland, Penn State, all those schools. Yeah, so Ohio State, and then you got to give me another one. Oh.
No, you just took 2. Ohio State and Maryland.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
All right, I'm going to go the mecca of college basketball, Duke University.
I like that.
Okay.
That's cool.
I had the Maccabi tryout, like I said, and I got to see the campus. Just really nice town. Basketball speaks for itself, so academics speak for themselves. So, yeah.
For me, 2 in a row. Yeah, for me, this was definitely the coolest school I visited. University of Michigan.
That was on my list too.
Really, just a really cool campus. Like if we're actually just talking about college town campus, like I would definitely put that up there. Damn, I gotta go again. Next up, wow, I'm running out a little bit here. I would go Moravian University.
Oh shit!
It's a pander and a hat.
That was gonna be my 5th pick.
Oh, you taking that last?
Yeah.
I mean, who else was gonna take it?
Because I didn't think anyone would take it.
That place just breeds excellence.
It does breed excellence. No, but I love Moravian for real. It's been a great experience. It could also be a place you haven't been. So with my 3rd pick, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go University of Miami.
Oh, I should have said that.
Is it U Miami or Miami U?
Miami.
University of Miami. I've been there a couple times. The campus is beautiful. Campus is beautiful. You're in Miami.
I have a problem with that pick.
Okay,
it's not a college town. I've been to Miami. That's Miami.
I hear that, but I'm going. I'm saying more like
I mean, my twin sister goes there. I visited like 4 times.
I've been a couple times, but every time I went out there, I've gone into Miami to go.
Sure. So I'm also saying from the standpoint, if I'm a student, I want that Miami life. I want to be there.
But it's not like a college
beautiful weather.
They got a nice campus.
You're right.
Coral Gables, though.
It's not your stereo. It's not your prototypical college town for sure.
Is it my pick?
Yeah, you got 2 in a row.
Dude, I have no idea. So I have Columbus, College Park. I've never been here, but it's on the bucket list for college game days. College Station, Texas A&M.
Okay.
I've heard
Money Manziel.
I've heard that's an electric atmosphere on game days.
That's cool.
I'd love to be there. Hopefully, I can make the trip down. I was gonna take Michigan and Penn State. I really don't even know where to go. I'm trying to think as I talk right now.
Go somewhere warm. I guess Texas A&M, but.
You know what? I'll shout out my boys at Columbia, South Carolina.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I've been there twice on game days. I mean, it's a fun school. Don't get me wrong.
Little Sneedle shout out.
It's not really a college town.
This is his dream come true.
Yeah,
he just got plugged on the pod.
He's it's not really a college town, but it's a fun school. I've had a good time there a couple times.
Cool. All right, I got Penn State.
No.
No, he took Moravian. Who did I take? Penn State, Miami, and Duke.
Okay.
All right. Easy one. I'm taking UCLA.
Ooh, that was
Campus, unbelievable. LA is sick. Gas prices are over $7 there, so
I know.
I would not have a car if I was there, but UCLA for sure.
All right, so I got Syracuse, Michigan, Moravian.
You got two in a row. You got two in a row. Moravian's a great pick. It really is.
All right,
I should have got one of these top 2 picks.
All right, so this is also kind of like in line with Danny's Miami pick, but I'm going to go Vanderbilt because the city of Nashville is unbelievable. I visited last year, and it was crazy there. Just crazy.
Yeah, last
and then at the 5, I'm going to go with also kind of similar to Ostrey's, Texas, Austin.
I've heard that's
Austin's
great.
a really cool
Got a
area.
game for Arch Manning down there.
Yeah, it's some big NIL value there.
Your last pick?
I think I've gone away a little bit from the proto or stereotypical college town. I've been thinking about
the
cities.
grass has been blown up.
Miami and LA. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with UF. I like Gainesville a lot.
Okay.
I've heard.
I like
that's an
Gainesville. I
awesome
went my
college
freshman year. It's a great time.
Shout out Will Still.
Shout out Will Still. Shout out Matt Gold. My guys at UF. But yeah.
That's an awesome college town. I've heard.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get my last pick. Another bucket list. Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, I've been there.
Good one.
How did I miss that one?
Good one.
Shout out Lefko.
I haven't
Madison's
been, but
amazing.
that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Madison, Wisconsin. All right, so we.
All right, yeah, Jack, wrap it up.
This was the most fraudulent college town draft.
What?
Say your 5, and then
Yeah,
we'll
say
go
your five.
because they got to vote on who the
Oh,
most.
all right. My 5 was Syracuse, Michigan, Moravian at the 3, Texas, and
fine.
Texas and Vanderbilt.
I had Penn State, Duke, UCLA, Miami, and UF, Gainesville.
I had College Park, Columbus, Ohio, Columbia, South Carolina, College Station, Texas, and Madison, Wisconsin. This is
All right.
asterisk next to
Nice.
yeah.
Let us know.
This draft
We
was-
need engagement. Will really help us, and we really want to know whose team was better, Jack, mine, or Sam.
Yeah. So vote in the comments.
Yeah, vote in the comments. Let us know what you thought. You guys will probably be seeing this
a couple weeks from now.
We got a lot of great episodes lined up.
But yeah, Jack, thank you for being here. This is a
thanks
great
for being
episode.
here.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Rate, subscribe, download YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah, leave a
Apple.
review on Apple and a comment on YouTube. Really
Jack,
helps
we
us.
appreciate it. Great
Yeah,
episode.
thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Peace.